All right. Good night, everyone, and welcome to day 9 of our agribusiness ideation training of the Belize Agribusiness Technical Incubator. My name is Silverio Marin, and I'm the incubator coordinator for the FAO in Belize, and I'll be your host for tonight's training session. And tonight, here with us, we also have Dr. Inessa Solomon, who will talk to us about financial planning. But just before we go into that session, I just want to remind you that this capacity building activity is being held under the project sustainable of COVID-19. The project is part of a technical Ministry of presentation. I just want to share with you a couple of reminders. We have been providing feedback for the Module C Canvas to those of you who have submitted your drafts. Yeah, some of you would have already received your emails with feedback. We have also received others that we are in the process of assessing. We invite all of you to submit your project proposals, no, your draft Model C canvases. You can do so by sharing them through email at agri.incubator@agriculture.gov.bz, and the email address will appear on the screen below. The final versions of the Model C canvas will also be received from the January 31st to February 7th. This will be the period of time that we will open to receive your final versions of the Module C canvas. Very well. With those reminders, now we move on to Inessa Solomon's presentation.
Hi, good night. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you again. We have been touched on the first day of this training. We did the first moment of introduction of our Model C Canvas. So we are going to get it back, and we are going to discuss a little about financial planning. The financial plan is part of this canvas, or in this indicated in the bottom of two of our streams, two of the flows. Okay, so let's see. First of all, I want to propose you a question. I want to hear from our audience today, what is your business current situation? Because some of the advices that we're going to have right now are going to be much more for those that have an existing product or service, and some of them are for those that are in a fresh starting. They're starting their business, and they have the idea in their minds, and they need to understand how to move on this. Okay, so we are classifying an existing product or service when you have a well-known information available, when the entrepreneur has been selling his product for a time and has done records, bookkeeping activities about their business, right? If you have this type of situation, please just type number 1. The other situation we are talking about, that ones that are in the fresh starting, then we need to talk about minimum viable product, that is MVP. That is a development technique in which a new product is introduced in the market with basic features. When you're doing for the first time, for the very first time, your product, maybe you're not getting that quality that's in your mind, but you can test it with your customers. So the final product is released in the marketing of only after a feedback from your users, from your customers. So please, if this is your situation, type number 2. Well, I'm saying that some of you are sharing your situation, number one. So we have some of those that have an existing product. So for you, it's going to be very, very easy to understand a lot of these concepts. Maybe you have been in contact with these concepts before. And those that have never been with these concepts, that don't know these concepts, I want to remember you that we have all these contexts, these concepts, the context of these well organized and informed throughout our Google Classroom contents. Please go ahead and use it for organizing yourselves and placing your comments into your Model C Canvas. Right. From our audience today, we have much more persons that have an existing product. So we are going to talk for the both, okay? And in the case for those that are starting, please make your comments and your questions. Maybe some of these concepts are very, very new for you. What we did this throughout this month? We started with the theory of change, where context, and then get into the vision of impact. Then we went for the business flow and the organizational capacity. What you have seen that this is the first time that we are going to talk about revenue streams, cost structure, and financial results. So this is the agenda for tonight. This agenda is going to be the basis for our discussion about your financial planning. This financial planning can have a lot of issues and a lot of good information, and we can go in depth in those informations. But by now, what we need is to clarify for you what you are going to place in this small box and have this information available when you are going to apply for the incubation process. Okay, let's start with the revenue streams. We are going to start with the business flow and finish all of our information in the business flow. If you remember, we were talking about what's your business opportunity, who are your customers, what's the value proposition, what you're going to offer to your clients, and how we are going to generate these revenue streams. So to think about revenue streams, we need to think about your sales. If we are thinking about our sales, we need to ask, how much do you want to sell next year? And what amount of profit do you want to make? Answering these questions, you are able to make a sales plan. When you do this plan, the sales plans, you are going to say how much you want to sell and thinking about and wondering how to get there. You are saying what are you going to sell, when, and where. Will you meet your direct final clients? Will you sell through the internet, new stores, or using a middleman? For how much will you offer each product? Some of you that already have a product, maybe you are not working just with one product, you have several of them. How many of you that are here in our audience have much more than one single product and you are selling these different goods throughout your channels? Can you answer me, please? Okay, so what we're talking about is that when we have the sales, we have the revenue streams. So what should you write in the revenue stream section? The section of the chart can be used to map the revenue generated from each different segment or product. It is key to realize that this building block represents the money generated from each client-based segment, not the profits. The profits are going to be placed in the next session. Revenue streams are key information. Your products or services will be fairly priced based on the estimated value. If you don't know how to estimate, this is something that we are going to discuss with you in the next opportunity throughout the incubation process. But we can realize that we can go to the market and request from our competitors their prices. And this is going to be a good goal to try to meet, not get much more higher and not Two, cheaper, because maybe you're not going to pay your costs in this case. Okay, so there's someone that's saying, yes, I do have much more than one product. Yes, this is the case. So if you have much more than one product, you are working with different products, you need to observe that in this building block we are going to state what product and for how much you're saying you're selling this product, and how much is it going to be in a year or in 6 months at least. Okay, so let's keep it simple. When you think about revenue stream, this is for that guys that never have been calculating this. We can calculate the revenue stream using, first of all, the sum of the invoice of for the week or the month, if you are already selling your products and services, or you can have the sum of the values of the price times the quantity of products sold per week or per month or per year. So these are different means to calculate the same thing. Okay, so remember, you need to know the price, you need to know the amount, the quantity that you want to have selling per week, and then we are going to be able to understand how many and how much is it going to be in terms of amount of your revenue streams. Someone is making a question. Gary is making a question. Can I request consumption based on data from Baja importation and Baja production? Yes, you can. And there is some information that you are going to find the Ministry of Agriculture website about how does the goods, the agricultural goods are being selling throughout the month here in Belize. So you can use this type of data, and this type of data will be very, very useful for those that never been in the market selling their products. So use it and use Google as a tool to find some information if you need. If it's not possible, go to the market, go to the stores, go to the grocery stores, go to other websites and try to find out how is your competitors, or for how much your competitors are selling their products. This is a very, very good information. Okay, let's move. So if the revenue streams are going to be calculated very easily and simply with this information about the invoices or about how much we are going to sell our products and the amount of the product sold, the revenue streams are very useful to understand, to figure out whether the business is doing well or not, because it's going to be coordinate with the cost structure to understand our profitability. What is profit? Someone can help me. What is profit? In a simple statement. Can anyone put an information? I'm going ahead, but I want to hear from you. What do you think is profit? If the business doesn't exist yet, you can try to get information from other people and put together your ideas. The most important point here is to choose what you expect to happen and write it down, and to have well-organized information in your business books and spreadsheets if you are going through and organizing yourself for the next months. Okay, Alex is answering my question. So Alex says that profit is the money made after expenses. Gary says that profit is calculated whenever all costs are deducted from gross selling price. Okay, and Leslie is saying that difference left after cost, including labor, is subtracted. Very good. This is the right answer. All these three answers are doing the same answer that we need. Okay, what we have? We have some information about our price, about our revenue streams, and we have some information about what we need to expand to make our product. So when we do the simplest account, one less the other, we get the profit, right? So the profit is what we want. We want to be positive. It is negative, we are not doing well. Okay? So please keep it in mind because we are going to talk about it all the time today. Okay, and there's something very interesting because Leslie is saying about labor. Yeah, it's a very interesting point. We are going to talk about that, but I want to engage in this idea. The labor is something that is not only from for your family or for those guys that work for you. Your labor, your time that you are going to spend throughout doing your process, doing your business runs, doing your product, it needs to be accounted as well. Okay, it is going to enter this account. Okay, next step. So, for example, when you're talking about revenue streams and we are going to do a forecast, we are going to think about the future. We need to think about in 1 year with taxes, if you have 4% of profit, is it good? Is it bad? It depends on your situation. If you consider this a low profit rate and you had to get to 8%, then your next year goal or your next month goal is to double your profit percentage. It's very important to know that because if you don't know that, you don't know how many things that you need to sell. You don't know how many products that you need to sell. So thinking about this, you need to be able to set up these goals and you need to have a clear idea of the current situation of your business and you need to make realistic growth throughout these, thinking about the resources that you're going to need, thinking about the technology that you're going to need, and thinking about the type of other resources, financial resources, human resources, and all the resources that we have been discussing throughout the Model C Canvas until now. Okay? So, some leading questions will help you to answer to this block. How do you generate funds? And what will be delivered to your customers? And how will they pay for the product or the service offered? And how much? So this is a very, very simple thing that we are going to state. If you have 1, 2, 3 products, we are going to say in December, I sold for product A, in this example, eggs, 400 Belize. For product B, 300 Belize. For product C, 300 Belize. And you have a total of 1,000 Belize. The same thing they're going to do in January, in February, in March, and the next 12 months. Then we are going to understand what's going in your business. If you never have this, never have had this opportunity, you don't have this, you need to wonder. You need to wonder, you need to plan. This is what we are going to share with you right now. So before going through the next steps, I want to share with you my screen and show that we have a cash flow. This cash flow is available for you in our training classroom, the Google Classroom, okay? So give me a minute, give me a second just to share the screen. Okay, here it is. Can you see this screen? Please let me know. I think you are going to be able to see. Yes, I'm saying that. So when you get to this information in the training, you can download it as a PDF file, or you can download it as Excel file. If you're going to download it as an Excel file, I put some examples right here. You're going to see that you have this cash flow that you can put the amounts, right? And it's going to make the account for you, all this. Please just type on the white blocks. And then we are going to see that here you have the information about your inflows and your outflows. When we are talking about your revenue streams, we are talking about inflows. So here you can use this example using money, currency, credit cards, deposits, and other payments, or you can replace it with your products. Product number A or no, product B, and also product C. Okay, just to make sure that you are going to understand this. So here you have your revenue streams. And the next block of information, we are going to see maybe your possible costs, or you need to break down the materials or break down some about the equipment or some about other information. But this is generic information for you to use this type of cash flow. So go ahead and try it and download it for your smartphones and computers. And if you don't have a computer or a smartphone that's going to handle this, please use the PDF file and you can write down using a pen or a pencil and make all your appointments to make these accounts for your next steps, wondering what you want from your business, from your idea, right? Okay, this is just such an example, and I'm getting back here for our slide. And this is the information that you are going to put over there. This is the type of product, the timeline, and we are going to work with this product and so on. Okay, let's wrap up this idea. Revenue streams in smart steps or baby steps. First of all, attention to organizing and managing your budget. Two, separate your personal and business funds. I want to talk about this. I was trying to stick on the example, but I want to talk about this. Sometimes you go to the market and you want to make part of your money as exchange. You're going to change this money with your customers. Then you don't know how much dollars have you been getting there. Then you don't know how many dollars that you get from your customers and get back home. Then you use part of this to pay for fuel and for your lunch. And this is a mess. Please don't do that. Keep it simple. Keep different spaces for each one of these monies. Your personal money is not going to be merged with the business funds. Same thing. If you are going to receive some money from your clients and it's going to be for paying your products, please don't get this money and just leave out, another day I put this in my books and I remember that. No, you're not going to remember. Please write it down and make it very, very simple for you. Okay, so let's go ahead. Baby steps. First, attention to organizing and managing your budget. Two, separate your personal and business funds. Three, keep a monthly control, at least monthly. If you can do it at any day, every day, and you can do it weekly, it's very, very good. Four, do not allow the organization of documents. Five, manage your cash flow correctly. This cash flow that I've just mentioned for you. Avoid exorbitant payroll expenses and think about the future. Okay, these are the babe steps. Okay, next slide. I'm taking your time today. I'm sorry about that, but I'm a finance teacher, so I can be here for 6 months saying anything about this all the time and all the time. So please make your comments and your questions because I'm not going to stop talking today. Next one. So if we have been talking about revenue streams, now we need to get the opposite, the negative side. That's the cost structure. It's the negative side because it's the negative side of our account. But it is going to translate all your organizational capacity, what you need to pay to have your business running, what you need to pay to have your product or your service available for your clients. Okay? So this is our next block. In the cost structure, we are going to think about everything that this business model needs to get organized. Certainly, you have done a lot of work of thinking through the different pieces of these blocks. And before starting to think about the cost, make sure that you have set all the key resources. Once you have the key resources, it was a very good session last week. List and break down the activities and what is going to be very important before determining the prices. Okay, then we are going to know what do you need from your suppliers from your team, what you're going to need from all your business to run it out and to roll out your ideas. Okay, next step is starting investments are not costs. It's very important. Starting investments are very important. You need to list it. List your investments. If you need a new building, if you need machinery, if you need computers, if you need other equipment, please list these investments. They are not going to be your cost, but they are going to be very important to make some indexes or some metrics to understand if your idea is feasible or not. So know what are your needs for investment. Is going to be important for feasibility studying and looking for funding. If you want to have funding, you need to know how are you going to expend this money and how this money can be profitable, right? But it's not about investment today. We are going to talk about cost structure, okay? But list this information and make sure that you have this in the information that we are going to have to apply for the incubation process. Okay, so what's cost? Cost structure is basically anything that's causing expenses in your business when to create your product or to complete the service that you provide, right? So I have the machinery, I have all the information that I need. So what is cost? Well, maybe seeds, maybe pesticides, maybe what else? Someone help me? Maybe packaging, maybe advertisement. Okay, all these are part of cost structures. Maybe going to the town, and so I need some fuel, right? So these are the cost structure that we need to be placing in that cash flow. Remember, the cash flow, we have the revenue streams on the top and on the bottom, all of these costs. And then these are multiple categories of costs, but we are going to stick in two of them: fixed costs and variable costs. Have you ever heard about that? Someone have ever heard? If yes, please type yes in our comments. If you have ever heard about fixed costs and variable costs. These are two informations that we really need to be clear about today. Okay, examples. Variable costs. Variable cost is that you need to pay for when you get a bigger amount of your product to be made. Example: raw material, product labor, server usage fees, water, sometimes all energy, some types of not fixed wage, but the wage that you pay for someone by hour, something like this. When you want to improve or you want to expand, you need to get a major amount of these type of resources. If you have to do so, you need to pay for them. Okay? Yes, Leslie. Fixed costs like rent. When you are going to make a rent, we are going to rent a land, or you're going to have an internet connection. It's something much more constant. You need to pay a salary every month, every week. These are fixed costs. It's something that you need to run your business. Then you are going to have it as an amount that is fixed every month or every week, and you know that this is going to be paid. If I don't want to make my business nevermore and I have rented a land from someone else, I'm a tenant, I need to continue paying for this rent. Okay, so it's going to exist if and I not going to make my farming this week or next month or next 2 months, right? But if I want to make my farming and I want to go there and do what I do to make my product, and I want to improve the number of the productivity or the number of products that I'm going to be making. Okay, now I need more raw material, now I need more water, now I need more types of energy, and so on. Okay, so we need to have a list of these in different ways. We need to have two lists. one of variable costs and the other one for fixed costs. And very important because it's going to be very useful to make just one measure that we need from your side. Okay, so to think about your cost structure in your business model, we are going to make some assumptions. If you never did that, or if you want to expand, you need to wonder what is going to happen in the future. You need to think about your future and write down for planning about both fixed costs, variable costs, and the volume of production and sale. If you have a big production this year and you are not able to say that it's not going on, what's going to happen with you? You're not going to be profitable, right? So it's not only how many pounds that I'm going to have from my product, or how many units of my product that are going to be available to my customers. It's about how many of that amount that are available for them they are going to buy. Okay? This is what I want to see from your side. If you do so, you are going to be very surprised by this expectation. You are going to be very surprised that when you are going to start and running a business, these costs sometimes are not what you are thinking they were. And now we need to think, are we struggling on that? Do we need to reduce or make our decision of profitability different? Or do we need as an entrepreneur to rethink your productivity? You need to work more time, or do you are going to need someone to help you? Okay, these are decisions that we can have only if we have the information available. So go ahead and write it down. Okay, so I'm for the very first time doing this. I've never did this type of product. How can I get to this information? Request this information from the other participants, from your family, from your competitors, and write it down. Wonder about that. If you're not going to be able to wonder about that, you're not going to be able to plan. Okay. May I ask something for the trainers? May I ask for some help from the trainers? Yes, you can ask. Okay. Then, if we can have this type of information, we can help on it. Okay, let's move. So, once we have the revenue streams and once we have the cost structure, that's not the investment, but we also have the investment information, we can get to the financial results. To get the financial results is to merge this information. It's to put the revenue streams and compare this with the cost structure and say anything, something about our profitability and how good is going our progress. What we do expect from a financial plan, but it's a big financial plan. What we want from your side is to make it simple. Remember, keep it simple. Do your best. Put your information, your revenue, your price against your costs, and define your model. First of all, to define the revenue model, identify the possible revenue streams generation models. How can you get this information? It's going to be every week that you're going to sell your products. It's going to be every day. It's going to be every month. Are you going to have some packages that you are going to sell out for the exporter or something like this? Think about this. This is about the model. You are going to be paid monthly, weekly, daily basis. Okay? Test the possible models. You need to understand if we are going to have the buffer, the time to wait until the next payment. It's very, very important. So think about that. No, I can't wait for 1 month to be paid. So I can't sell all my products for the same guy that's going to pay me monthly. So I need to have 2 times or 2 different times or 3 different types of models of getting my revenue. Okay? Okay. Next step is to define the operational model. Again, we have talked about that last week and it was very, very interesting. Remember, The SOP is the standard operational model or operational pattern that you are going to use. This is going to help you to think about what are the activities that you need. Once you know the activities, you know what type of raw material, what type of resources that you're going to need. Once you know that, you can go get the prices of these, how much your suppliers are going to sell it for you. So it's very, very useful for those that are starting right now. But those that have this information, please use the SOP and organize yourselves to expand or to rethink your model, your business model. Okay? So estimate the implementation, estimate the fixed cost, estimate the variable cost, do a forecast in your cash flow. Okay. Uh, for the last step, project revenue streams and define capacity. Define price, aligning price to positioning, calculate cash flows, define short and medium term sales objective, calculate margin and breaking even point. Wow, that's the point. Here I want to hear from you your margin and your break even point. Is there anyone that have ever heard about this? About breaking even point? I want to know about your side because we are going to show you about this right now. And this is a very useful tool for you guys. Meaning that ones that are starting their planning, you need to know what is your capacity, how many products that you need to sell to get your business profitable. That's what about this. Okay, so Leslie is saying something. Different streams of a revenue model was a good point. Yes, we have different streams for different with different models and with different frequencies to have been paid from our clients. So think about that. It's very, very important because you need to be reliable, and to be reliable, you need to have your money to make more raw material, to pay your collaborators, to move on all your cycle, right? That's it. Okay. So this is about financial plan. Financial planning is to define revenue model, define cost, define operational model, and to forecast what you are going to do for the next time. Okay, so when we are talking about this, we are talking about to prepare the cash flow projection, and we are talking about to understand the breaking even point. First of all, to prepare the cash flow that I've been sharing with you, you need to choose a series of time periods. What I'm saying, it may be like, again, daily basis, weekly basis, year basis. You know, it's your business. You know about your business much more than me. So think about that and do your forecast. Second step, enter the beginning cash, or if you have, the cash equivalence balance if you have. If you don't have, start with zero. No problem. There's no problem at all, right? Third, apply trade receivables cash collection time or percentage for estimation cash receipts. Think about that. I don't know how many of you are going to work only with money, but some of you are going to accept cards. Okay? If you're going to accept cards, please remember you're not going to be paid at the same day. Remember that you are going to wait for a while for the bank to move this money to your personal account. So remember that. Remember that these days needs to be taken into account when you are doing your forecast. And think about your expenditures because you need to have a cash inflow that is going to pay your cash outflow, right? Okay. In the break even, what we want is to understand how can we be profitable, how many products that we need to produce and sell to get to the even situation. We are not profitable, but we are not get loss, right? We're in the middle. Anything that we sell one more, it's profit. And when we sell one less, it's non-profit, right? So this is the account that we need to have. We need to know all of our fixed costs. We need to pick all of that fixed costs we listed and we get the prices of them and we are going to sum it. When we did the sum, we are going to make this division from the margin. And what is the margin? The margin is the difference between the selling price for 1 unit of your product, right? Remember this, 1 unit, the selling price minus the variable cost for 1 unit. So we need to know all our cost structure and we need to know how does it cost to make just one single product. But you're going to say, but Inessa, how can I say one single ginger? No, it's not one single ginger. If you're selling ginger, maybe it's a lot, or it's a bag, or it's a pound, or it's, I don't know, the units that you're going to use. But this 1 unit, that's it. That this type of information that we are going to need, right? So please remember, you need to organize your fixed costs, organize your variable costs, know the selling price for each product, and do this account for each product. After all, of course, I'm going to share with you how to do it for all your business, but not tonight. Otherwise, we're not going to be at home before the next 30 minutes, right? So now we are going to share this information throughout a very interesting video. And I want to request my friend Tammy to share the video for you. It's very, very interesting. And I know that you are going to love it, guys. Please, Tammy.
From your music playlist to your mobile phone contents, from your saved computer games to the details on your Facebook.
Hi guys, I think we are going to have technical problem right now. I'm going trying to share my screen with you. I think I don't know if it's going to work, but let's try it, okay? Because it's a very good video. Just a second.
This is Farmer Joe. He grows apples. And this is investment banker John Parker from Goldman Sachs.
Good day to you, sir. Howdy, partner. Farmer Joe, have you ever heard of the break-even point?
Well, I don't care about a fancy thing called the break-even point. All I want to know is how many apples.
Sorry, I think it's not working. It's not working. Sorry about that. Okay, I'll try once again. Otherwise, we are going to get back to the slides. And this video is available for you on our Google Classroom. Right, let's try it.
This is Farmer Joe. He grows apples. And this is investment banker John Parker from Goldman Sachs.
Good day to you, sir.
Howdy, partner.
Farmer Joe, have you ever heard of the break-even point?
Well, I don't care about a fancy thing called the break-even point. All I want to know is how many apples I have to sell to make money with my business.
Well, that's exactly what the break-even point is for, Farmer Joe. So, are you interested in it?
Yeah, for sure. Tell me more about it.
Alright, So, first of all, we need to know how much do you charge for an apple?
I charge $1 for an apple.
Do you eventually know what the production costs of one apple are?
Well, a fancy guy like you used to do that math for me. He told me that I spent 50 cents an apple for diesel, pesticides, and labor. But I don't know if I would trust the Harvard guy.
Yeah, whatever. So, these are your variable costs per apple. Variable means that if you don't crop any apples, you would have no variable costs. Is that clear to you?
Yeah, of course. I'm not dumb. I don't need pesticides or diesel if I don't crop any apples. But what about my tractors?
Yeah, we will come to that issue right now. Overheads are, for example, depreciation of your tractor, interests of your bank loans, and other expenses like insurance, and of course, office workers. These are your fixed costs. You have to deal with them no matter whether you crop 1,000,000 apples or just 5.
Ah, that sounds reasonable. According to my financial guy, I have $25,000 in overheads. So tell me, where is my break-even point?
Well, Farmer Joe, in general, when you want to get your break-even point, you have to take all your overheads and divide them by the contribution margin per unit. The contribution margin is the difference between your selling price and the variable cost.
Boring. Why don't you just tell me in numbers how many apples I do have to sell?
Oh, excuse me, sir. I will come to that right now. In your case, you've got $25,000 of overheads, and you divide them by a contribution margin of 50 cents. You get this contribution margin because you sell one apple for $1, and you have variable costs of 50 cents for one apple. And when you do all the fancy math, the break-even point equals 50,000 apples. And so, Farmer Joe, you have to sell 50,000 apples to reach your break-even point and to break even.
Whoa, wait a minute. Tell me, how on earth should I possibly sell 50,000 apples a year? What could we do to break even a little earlier? Let's say with 25,000 apples.
Interesting question, Mr. Joe. You see that 3 figures have an impact on the break-even point. And these figures are the selling price, your variable costs per unit, and your overheads. You could reach your break-even point earlier if you would raise, for example, your price, let's say by 20%. Then you make $1.20 per apple. So, let's see when you break even now.
So that means I break even at about 36,000 apples. Well, that's not enough. There's gotta be something we can do about this.
Well, let me think. Well, I'm sure you could work more efficiently and decrease your variable costs per apple to, let's say, about 40 cents per apple. Therefore, you would break even at 31,250 apples.
Well, that already looks way better to me, but I think there's still some room, isn't it?
Yeah, last but not least, we could try to decrease your fixed costs. Let us talk with the bank and insurances. Maybe we can fix a deal and decrease them to about $20,000? Then we could break even at 25,000 apples.
Well, that would be great. Thank you very much, fancy business guy.
My pleasure, Farmer Joe. It is not only my job to run around in fields and explain business terms to farmers like you. It is also my passion. You're welcome, my friends. You're very, very welcome.
Okay, so I can imagine that you realize right now uh, how important is to know your break-even point. So when we are talking about capacity, we are talking about your fixed costs, your prices. All of these are very, very good information to make your plans. So I would like to invite you to try this type of measure and understand if what you're thinking about as an idea is going to be feasible, at least at this break-even point. Okay. So with this information, the entrepreneur will be able to measure the sales volume needed to reach the break-even point. With this type of information, the break-even point is the point that the business is going to begin to give a positive return. And also based on this volume, the volume that you're going to sell to your customers, the operational capacity necessary to make these sales is identified and the efficiency is analyzed. We can understand that. The guy that is going to sell apples, he can sell 35,000, but he can sell 25,000. So this is about not only about the operational capacity of him, but about his efficiency. To be more efficient, he needs to change their cost structure and remember, try to get it better and make some improvements in their productivity, right? This is what we want from your financial structure and about breaking even point. I'm going to show you right now. Sorry, too much. Sorry, again. I did it. Okay, so what we need is to calculate the margin. To calculate the margin, that it's what going to go in the bottom. We need the price and we need the variable costs. And to calculate the break even, we need the overheads, the fixed costs, and get this small account done. But remember, you need to do it for each one of your products, not for all of your products together, because it's not going to work, right? If you want to know how to do it for a lot of products, we can explain it, but it's not the case right now. We want to show you that this is a very powerful tool to understand your planning. Okay, to wrap up today, because I've been here for more than 50 minutes and I'm sorry about that, but I can't be saying all of these in a short time. I want to share with you that there are a lot of key financial metrics that you can use. If you know these metrics, you can use. If you have ever been calculating these metrics, you can use it in your financial plan. But what we want from your side is know how you are going to be profitable with the break-even point. So we are talking about cash flow, net income, profit margin, NPV or net present value, IRR. It's terrible for this for someone that talks Portuguese to say that. Interest rate, return rate, ROI, return on the investment, churn rate, and customer retention. So there's a tip. If you want to understand about that, we can share some information with you, but you can Google it if you want. The cash flow is available for you. The profit margin is available for you, but not all the other information. The net income is really, really nice and easy to calculate, right? It's the revenue streams, less costs, then you get the net income. In this case, you can do it for all your products at the same time. You are going to understand how you are going to be profitable or not in your business. So these are some new metrics. And last but not the least, I want to thank you very much. Thank you for your patience and thank you for having me tonight and to explain all these different concepts. Remember, all of this is available for you in a lot of good contents in our Google Classroom contents. Thank you. Please, Silverio, are you going to join me right now?
Yes, Ines, thank you for such a great presentation. Um, I don't know if the participants have any particular question for you. but I know that the financial management of small businesses is something very important and that every entrepreneur should consider, and they should take the time to actually get acquainted with the different systems and to practice it, no? To put it into practice. So thank you once again, Inessa. And thank you for reminding our participants that the materials are available in the Google Classroom. And you can reach us also through our Telegram channel. And you can also um, review the recording of this presentation on this YouTube channel. No, the information remains available for all of you. Now, if you have any particular question that you want answered, you are welcome to write us via email at agri.incubator@agriculture.gov.bz. And you're welcome to submit your draft Model C canvas. And remember that we are going to be sharing with you some tips to improve your Model C canvas. And then after January 31st, you will be able to submit the final versions all the way up to February 7th, 2022. All right. So send us your Model C canvases and reach out to us via the Telegram channel and leave your comments. Let us know what help you need, and we're here to assist you. You can also access all the content and materials of the training sessions via our Google Classroom. And so, as Inesta had mentioned, all this information is there. We also have additional information that can be beneficial for you. We have some other videos and other notes that you can use to help to improve the presentation of your Module C canvas. Now, as a last reminder, our next and final session is going to be held on Thursday, February 1st. And so we want to invite you to be part of that session, as we will share with you the actual evaluation criteria for the Model C canvas. And so you would be very interested in being part of that session. So until then, stay safe, and we shall see you all next class.